This is J. Krishnamurti's third public discussion in Saanen, 1975.
What shall we talk over together this morning?
I beg your kind permission to remember that in the first dialogue there was a question we didn't go into by lack of time, and that was what would be the action of a mind
Yeah.
that is the whole
Yeah.
in daily life. Now, should we talk it over here,
Right, sir.
or should resolve each one by himself?
The question is, what would be the action of a man if and when he steps out of the stream? What would such a person, how would he act in the world of reality? Right, sir? Does he have any meaning at all to such a man, the world of reality? Oh, who are not free. So what shall we discuss?
Can we discuss the relationship between reality and truth? And if there is such a thing as...
Would you like to discuss, talk over together, the relationship between reality and truth, which means freedom from the clawing, clinging effects of reality, and if there is such freedom, what relationship is there between truth and reality?
I have been listening to your book several years, but I have not been able to go beyond the words. I'm still living in my center. The reading and listening to you gave me intellectual satisfaction, and I and hope too for the life that exists beyond my limited life.
Would you,
I don't want to lean to you, but I have to learn to live with what my life really is. What shall I do?
the question is, if I understand it rightly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, one is a slave to words, one is caught in words, and one lives from a center, and how is one to act? Is that it, sir? More or less. Would you mind talking over together the energy that is necessary in daily life to maintain attention? To maintain attention, what kind of energy is necessary in daily life? Is there anything like positive and negative thought? Good thought and bad thought, right thought and not right thought. All thought is one, whether good or bad or indifferent. Now let's find out which shall we talk over together. That question Mr. Russo put forward. Time. What was it? I've forgotten. Where does thought come from? Now, which shall we discuss or talk over together with all these questions? What? What is the first question? What is the first question?
The first question was, what is the action of a man who steps out of the street?
Was that your question, sir? What is the action of a man who is not caught in time? Shall we begin by talking over together what is the relationship between reality and truth, if there is such thing as truth, and what is a man to do who lives in the world of reality all the time, caught in that world of reality, verbal, imaginative, world of conclusions, ideologies, tyrannies? What is a human being to do? Shall we discuss your question, sir, that includes all this? Shall we go into that? What is the difference, or what is the relationship between truth and reality? We said reality is all that thought has put together, all that which thought reflects upon or reflects about, all that thought remembers as knowledge, experience and memory, and acts in that area and lives in that area, we call that reality. Right? Is that clear between us, please? Don't say at the end of it, what do you mean by reality? We are saying reality. The word reality comes, the root meaning of that word is thing. So, we live with things created by thought as ideas. We live with things called conclusions, which are all verbal. And we have various opinions, judgments, and so on. That is the world of reality. And what is the relationship between that and truth? How shall we find this out? This has been one of the problems of the ancient Hindus and some philosophers and some scientists, modern and ancient. Is there such thing as truth? And if there is it within the field of reality, or is it outside reality? And if it is outside, what is the relationship between that and reality? Is this clear? Is the question clear? What is the activity of reality? What takes place in the field of reality? Shall we begin with that and see its meaning, its significance, and its value. And when we have understood completely or totally the field of reality, then we can inquire into the other, not the other way around. Is that clear? Because one's mind may not be capable of inquiring into truth. But we can inquire into the world of reality, its activity, how destructive, how constructive, and so on. When we are absolutely clear, logical, sane, healthy about the world of reality, then we can proceed to find out if there is truth. Would you go on with that? Would you agree would you concede that as a necessary step? Not what truth is, but then we can speculate about it. Your speculation is as good as somebody else's. So what is the activity in the world of reality? Both outwardly as well as psychologically, inwardly. Can we go on with that? I'm not giving a talk. This is just a dialogue between two people. In that world of reality, there is always duality. Right? The me and you, we and they. This duality expresses, acts in the world of reality as nationalities, as religious divisions, as political division and tyrannies and domination, and political division, what is actually going on. So there is this activity of duality, right? The me and the you, and the me separating itself from the actual and having a conflict with the actual. I wonder if you see that. May we go? Is this clear? That is, this world of reality is created by thought. Thought, as we said, is movement in time and measure. That is the whole movement of thought in time as measure. That thought has created the center, as we were talking about it yesterday. That center separates itself from thought. Then that center creates the duality as the you and the me. Right? Is this clear? I mean, please, not verbally, not intellectual, but actually, does one see the reality of this? I was just going to say the truth of it. You know? This is the truth. That which is the truth. And do I see that which is? That is thought creating a center, that center assuming power, domination, and all the rest of it, and trying and creating division between the center and the periphery, which is thought. We said thought, having created the center, that center becomes not only a cohesive, unitary process, but also it acts as a dividing thing. Right? Do you see it as clearly as you see this tent? The tent is real. It has been created by thought. That's independent of thought, but it is actual. May we go on? So, we live outwardly and inwardly, psychologically, in the field of reality, which is basically not only fragmentary, but divisive. That is dual, divided. That is our life. One of the symptoms of this division is the center trying to control thought, trying to control desire, trying to control various appetites, various reactions. So the center becomes the factor of division. This is fairly simple. Yeah? That is, in the field of reality, conflict is always part of that. Right? Conflict. Not only within myself, but outwardly. Not only in myself, but in my relationship to others. Right? Please. So, conflict is one of the principles of reality. As division is one of the principles, and from that division, conflict arises. This is factual. The center separates itself from violence, and then that center acts upon the violence, controlling it, dominating it, trying to change it into non-violence and so on. From the center there is always the effort made to control change. Politically this is happening in the democratic world as well as in the tyrannical world, where the few dominate the many. The few are the center. I don't know if you see the beauty of all this. And the few want unity. And therefore they must dominate, etc., etc. So, in the field of reality, division is one of the basic principles. The guru and the disciple. The guru who knows and the disciple who doesn't. Comment? Ah non, écoutez, un enfant, we are not children. We are talking about ourselves. If a child is born in a jungle and brought up differently, God knows what would happen. But your child and the other people's child are not born in a jungle. We are here, in a jungle of reality. So that is one of the principles in the world of reality. Division, conflict. That is, the center trying to control thought. Please understand this. Because from this we are going to the world of truth. And if you don't understand this, don't let's talk any more about any. Let's stick to this and understand it. We try to control anger. We try to control various forms of desires, always from the center. The center being that which thought has created and which has become permanent. Or rather, attribute to itself the quality of permanency. Right? So, from that arises, is it possible to live, please listen, in the world of reality without control? You understand my question? Without any form of control. Sexually, which predominates in the Western world, and that's becoming a neurotic thing, and distorting the mind, everything. No control. Is it possible to live in the world of reality without a shadow of control? Go on, sirs. Comment? What? I'm afraid I haven't understood you or heard the question. Beg pardon? If you are by yourself, are you saying, you can do this. But if you are with others, you cannot live a life in which there is no control. Is that it? Huh? Yes? You see what you have said just now? I don't think you realize what you have said. That if you are by yourself, perhaps you could do this. But if you have to live with others, you cannot do this. Who are the others? Divided by thought, as you and me. But the actuality is you are me. I am the world, and the world is me. The world is you. I wonder if you see this. We went into all this.
Yeah, that's not true.
Come on. Huh? That is not true. I think it would be more correct if you use the word correct rather than saying that it's not true. Correct means care. It comes from the word care. Accurate. Accurate means care. You say that is not so. Now let's look at it. Basically, we've gone into this dozen times before. Basically, whether you live in America, in France, or Europe, or America, or Russia, China, or India, basically, we are the same. We have the same suffering, the same anxiety, the same grief, arrogance, great anxiety, uncertainty. Basically, we are the same. Environmentally, culturally, we may have different structure and therefore act superficially differently. But fundamentally, you are the same as the man who is across the border. Come on. What?
I still say we want privacy.
What? Oh, you still want privacy. Who is preventing you? I don't understand the question. If you say, I still want privacy, you mean you still want to be enclosed. By a house, by a garden, by a wall around your house, or enclosed so as not to be hurt. So you say, I must have a wall around myself in order not to be hurt. We went into this question the other day. Come on.
If she is like that, so is everyone else.
Of course, everyone else is like that too. But Madam, this is talking. I don't think I'll go into that question now. We have been through that several times, so I hope you will not mind if we don't go into it now. As we were saying, in the field of reality, conflict and duality are the actual things that are going on. Conflict between people, conflict between nations, conflict between ideals, conflict between beliefs, conflict between states, armaments. The whole field of reality is that. It is not an illusion. As the Hindus would say, that's a Maya. In Sanskrit, Ma means measure. Please understand it. Ma means measure. So they said, in the field of reality, there's always measurement. And therefore, that's illusory. Because measurement is a matter of thought. Measurement is a matter of time, from here to there and so on. And therefore, they said that's illusion. But the world they wanted is also an illusion, created by thought. I wanted to see. I won't go into all that. So, in the field of reality, can one live completely without control? Not permissiveness, not doing what you want to do, because that's too childish. Because you can never do what you want to do. One thinks one can. So, is it possible to live a life without a shadow of conflict? I don't know if you have gone into this.
So it seems that when we are aware of all these processes, that thought controls brings about conflict, and that trying to control thought brings about conflict, that control again brings about conflict, then we stop trying to control.
No, sir. Little bit, if I may a little bit go into it. Have you ever tried or know how to act without control? You have appetites. sexual or sensory appetites. To live with those appetites, not yielding to them, not suppressing them, nor controlling them, to see these appetites and ending them as they arise. Have you ever played that? Not played. Have you ever done this? No, you don't know. What's the good of it?
But you can't do that when you live from the center.
Huh?
We are living from the center. Then you can't do that.
Now, sir, I'll show it to you. You can. So don't say you can't do anything. Human mind can do anything. They have gone to the moon. Before this century, they said impossible. They've gone to the moon. Technologically, you can do anything. So why not psychologically find out? Don't say I can't. It's impossible. Look, sir, go into it step by step and you will see it. You see a beautiful house, lovely garden. A desire arises. And how does this desire arise? You understand my question? What is the nature of desire? And how does it arise? I'll show it. If we go into it, there is visual perception of that house. A beautiful garden, architecturally beautiful, nice proportions, lovely colors, and you see it visually. Then that visual thing is communicated to the brain. There is sensation. From sensation there is desire. And thought comes along and says, I must have it. Or I can't have it, I'm going to have it. I don't know if you have watched all this. So, wait. So there is the beginning of desire, the beginning of thought. Thought, we said, is physical as well as chemical. Perception of that house, sensation, contact, touch it, and desire and thought. Right? This is sexually, visually, psychologically, intellectually. Then, right? So, now, there is that beautiful house, the seeing, the sensation, the desire. Can that desire end? Not move with thought as possessing and all the rest of it. You have understood my question? The perception, sensation, desire, and the ending. Not thought coming around saying, I'm a. Now, in that there is no control. I wonder if you see that. No, sir, I'm asking, sir, let's stick to one thing. I'm saying, can you live a life in the world of reality without control? And I'm showing you how it is done. action comes from a desire, a motive, a purpose, an end. Surely this is simple, isn't it?
Do we say that desire is the same as appetite, or is desire something perverted by thought?
No. You eat a good omelette. Tasty omelette. What takes place? The memory, the brain registers the pleasure and demands that pleasure be repeated tomorrow. But that omelette is never going to be the same. So, you see, what we are trying to point out is the taste, and not let it register as a desire, as a memory, and end it.
But surely there is a difference between appetite and desire. Isn't desire a perversion of thought?
No, desire, sir, appetite. I'm hungry. Is that thought? But thought says, I like to have such and such dish. Appetite, hunger, is not thought. What? Oh, I'm not. Be concerned with your own desires first, and then we'll talk about something going wrong here. I haven't understood the question, so sorry. I can't hear properly. Not that I am deaf, but somehow I can't hear it.
He said that we are not quick enough to stop the thought. The thought comes before we
No.
can do anything.
Therefore, learn. So, look, as we said yesterday, let's learn about it, not how to do it. You see, one's mind or brain is traditional. You're always saying, I can't. Tell me what to do. It's all the pattern of tradition. What we are saying is very simple, which is the seeing, the sensation, thank you, sir, sensation and desire. You can see the movement of this, can't you, in yourself? When you see a beautiful car, beautiful woman, or beautiful man, God knows what else, when you see it, and the sensation arises, and the desire. Now, to be so alert to watch it, then you will see as you watch it, thought it has no place. I wonder if you see this. So I'm saying to you, I'm suggesting that in the field of reality, as conflict is the very nature of that reality, the ending of conflict in oneself, in a human being, and therefore in the world, because you are the world and the world is me, and the world is you. Your consciousness with its content is the content of the world. So if there is an understanding, a radical change in you, it affects the whole of consciousness of man. God's sake, see this. No, madam, I could say, Sava. I can't hear. May I go on, please? May we go on? I'm sorry, I can't hear. Oh, then come over here, please. I don't know. I try to make it a dialogue, but as we can't hear, you have to speak louder or tell somebody to tell us. Huh? Do you want to have a quarrel with me? N'importe, madame. If she wants to, she will do it. If she doesn't, she'll leave it alone. Madam, if you have heard what she said, somebody nearer, would they tell us what she said? We said this is a dialogue. Dialogue means conversation between two friends or between people who are really serious to find out. It's not an argument which becomes a discussion, nor a dialectic investigation, which is the investigation of opinions to see what is true in opinions. And opinions are prejudices. Therefore, we are not inquiring truth into prejudice. Prejudices are prejudices. So we are having a dialogue, a conversation. And if somebody wants to say something which we can't hear, please convey it to somebody near who will tell us. But don't let's have you and I have a battle about it. So we are saying, all right, so let's get on. We have invited her and she won't answer. Now, can a human being live in the world of reality without conflict? Because if he cannot, then truth becomes an escape from reality. So he must understand the whole content of reality, how thought operates, what is the nature of thought. Madam Asevulaba, please sit down there, please sit down. I know her. Please sit down, madam, sit down there. Let's begin again. We said the field of reality is all the things that thought has put together, consciously or unconsciously. And one of the major symptoms of that reality, a disease of that reality, is conflict. Nationally, between the classes, between people, between individuals, between you and me, and so on, so on. The conflict outwardly and inwardly. That conflict is between the center which thought has created and thought itself. because the center thinks it is separate from thought. So there is that conflict of duality between the center and the thought, and from that arises the urge to control thought, to control desire. Right? Now, is it possible to live not only in oneself a life in which there is no control? Please I am very careful in the usage of that word control, which does not mean doing what you want, permissiveness, all this modern extravagance, which has become vulgar, stupid, meaningless. We are using the word control quite a different sense. A man who would want to live in complete peace must understand this problem of control. And this control is between the center and the thought. The thought taking different forms, different objects, different movements. Now, we say one of the factors of conflict is desire and its fulfillment. Desire comes into being when there is perception and sensation. That's fairly simple and clear. Now, can that desire as it arises, can the mind be totally aware of it and therefore end it, not give it movement further? You understand what that means? It implies... No, madam, please, I know. No, please, I know. We know about it. What?
There's no recording in the brain when the desire.
That's right. The lady suggests there is no recording in the brain as memory, which then gives vitality and continuity to desire. I don't know if you see this point. I see a beautiful picture, and the response is to have it. I'm just one of the responses, so I may not have just look at it and walk off. But if there is that response to possess it, then that sensation as desire is registered in the brain. The brain then demands the possession of it and the enjoyment of it. This is fairly simple. Now, can you look at that picture? Please, I've done, this is so simple once you understand the whole movement of it. Once, when you see the picture, desire and the ending.
Sir, often I don't recognize that I have a desire until it's frustrated. In other words, there's no recorder in my mind that tells me I am thinking. How do I... Much about life I spent in this thought.
Sir, I've gone into this. I've gone into this.
Have you?
Yes. I said, we said, this is a dialogue, not with that lady, because we know her from the past, not with that lady. This is a dialogue between all of us except that lady. And we went into this question. In the world of please listen, sir, you asked a question, you go on, we said in the world of reality, conflict seems to be the nature of it, right? And we are trying to find out a way of, if it is possible to live without conflict. And we say conflict arises when there is duality, the me and the you, and the center created by thought and thought itself. And the center tries to control, shape thought. There lies the whole problem of conflict. And further, that desire arises through sensation, sensory perception. Sensory perception of objective things involving belief is illusion. I can believe that I am something when I am not. Therefore, there is a problem of conflict. So, is it possible to live a life totally without conflict?
You tell me.
I do not know if you ever put this question to yourselves. Or we live in the world of tradition and accept that world, that conflict is inevitable.
Sir, what I'm trying to say is that oftentimes I am not registering that I am in conflict. The conflict goes on in a vaporous...
All right, then you say, I am not conscious that I live in conflict. Wait, sir. You say that you are not conscious that you live in conflict.
I'm not making a general statement as such. I'm tracing the movement of my consciousness as I'm sitting here and speaking with you. And there's an activity of thought. I do not register that I am thinking and that is drawing me away from listening to you.
No, that we are not talking of that, sir.
You're not?
We are talking over together this question of reality and truth, right? That's how this began. We said, unless you understand the whole nature of reality, all its complexities, mere inquiry into what is truth is an escape. And we are saying, let us look into the world of reality. The world of reality which thought has created. Nothing else. And in that world of reality, the conflict is the movement of life. I may not be conscious of that conflict sitting here, but unconsciously, deeply, there is conflict going on. This is simple enough. I wish we could go on further. So that is one of the things, conflict. And this conflict takes many forms, which we call noble and ignoble. The man who has ideals and is trying to live up to those ideals, which is conflict, we call him marvelous, a very good human being. That ideals are projected by thought. Follow it. And the center pursues that. And so there is conflict between the ideal and the actual. This is what is happening in the world of tyranny, dictatorship. The few know what they think is right and for the rest to follow. So this goes on all the time. And it is the same with regard to authority. The authority of the doctor, the scientist, the mathematician, the informed man and the uninformed man, the guru and the disciple Shishya. He wants to achieve what he has got. What he has got is still in the world of reality. Right? He may talk about truth, but he is conducting himself in the world of reality using the methods of reality, which is division between himself and the disciple. This is also obvious.
Why do people do it?
Madam, no dialogue between us. What is the function of a teacher? Am I teaching you anything? Be clear, don't accept. Don't say yes. Find out if I am teaching you anything.
I'm studying your character.
No, madam, we're not discussing with you. Please be serious for a few minutes. What's the function of a so-called teacher? There's a mathematician. Comment? Madame, no. Yeah. He says you're not a professor, because you have not accumulated and giving that accumulated knowledge to us. No, it's much more interesting. Oh, for God's sake, how you miss. What is a teacher and who is the taught and what is being taught? The teacher, a mathematical professor, teacher, he has accumulated information about mathematics, biology, or physics, or whatever it is. He wants to teach you or give you information about mathematics. He can assume in that relationship that he is superior to the disciple. And therefore there is a totally different kind of relationship between him and the student. Or both are learning. The teacher is learning about his conditioning, and in talking over with the student, he is also helping the student to be aware of his conditioning. So both are learning. Madam, écoutez, would you please keep quiet or go outside?
Sir, there's conflict and disorder now. You say you have known that lady from the past. From the past, you have excluded her, so there cannot be communication between you and her. And I find that disturbing.
Sir, it's not disturbing. Please, sir, don't make... I know this lady from previous occasions. People you are. So let me finish one thing and then you can begin with the other. We said what is the teacher and the disciple and what is taught. If both the teacher and the student and the disciples are learning, not the teacher accumulated knowledge and then gives it to it, then that's merely transferring information. In that giving information, the teacher can assume extraordinary authority, position, give himself superior airs and all the rest of it. But if both are learning, and I hope this is what we are doing here, then there is no teacher and the taught. Then there is no authority. And the field of reality has authority. Because an authority then assumes status. Through function, the teacher assumes a status. Do you understand that? Here, we are not assuming any status. I am not. Because I have made it perfectly clear right from the beginning. I made it perfectly clear right from the beginning that I am not your guru, you are not my followers, I am not your authority. But together, if you are serious, and I hope you are, if you are serious, we are investigating, not offering my opinion against your opinion. I have no opinions. I have no belief. I don't rest on my laurels. I have no laurels. All that's stupid. So, if both of us are learning, then we are equal. And therefore we are free. And it's only in freedom you can learn. So, we are learning together by investigating if it is possible to live in this world without conflict. That means you must exercise your brain, not just casually listen and interrupt with something or other. You are giving your attention to one thing only, which is to find out, learn together if it is possible to live in the world of reality without a single conflict. And I say to you, it is possible. Let's find out. And to find out, you must investigate, you must look, you must listen. That means you must be serious. So, we say that desire, thought, is one of the factors of division. Probably it's the only factor of division. And as long as we don't understand the whole nature of desire, there will be the fulfillment of it, and the despair of not fulfilling it, and the conflict involved in fulfilling it. All that is involved in that word desire. Desire arises, perception, sensation, contact, desire. Can that desire have no further movement? Investigate it. Because what gives it vitality and the drive to fulfill? You understand my question?
Desire is through the conflict.
Comment?
Dans le désir, il y a déjà un conflit.
No. It's only. He says there is already in desire a conflict. Is there? No, just look at it, sir. Look, learn. I see that car. It's a beautiful Mercedes-Benz. And naturally, perception, sensation, and I see it. Why should there be a strengthening of desire? You follow? Why should desire continue? And what gives continuity to desire? Now, do look at it, please, learn. I see that car, there's a seeing, sensation, desire. Then why is there a continuity of that desire? No, which means what? Thought. I've driven in a Mercedes before. It's a nice car, powerful. And there's a register. Somebody else drove me in it, and I see that car, I like to have it. That is the perception, sensation, desire, the memory. The response of the memory is thought, and thought says, I must have it. This whole movement. So, is it possible to live a life without conflict? Much more involved in this, you don't quite see it. That is, our brains, as I said the other day, we are not professionals. I have not taken a degree in the structure of the brain or studied, but I watched brains. The brain functions in tradition. Because in tradition, there is safety. Tradition being in knowing. Whether it's that knowing, that knowledge has been transmitted to me, to the brain, by the past, or acquired recently, that brain functions effectively when it's completely secure. You can watch this in babies, you can watch a professional technician. Because he knows perfectly the motor, there is no problem. That is, he functions in tradition. And our brains demand security, certainty. And it finds it in knowledge, in memory, in tradition, in experience, which is the past. So it is afraid to move out of that realm. If you have watched your... So, a challenge is put to it. Say, can you live without conflict? And the immediate response is, I can't, because I've lived that way. It is not learning. In learning, things may alter. Therefore, it's a please, don't disturb. So the brain, seeking security, finds it in conflict, accepts it as suffering, pain, other things. So can the brain, listen to this, can the brain perceive, sees, sensation, desire, and not operate in the traditional way? Which means I must understand there must be an investigation into the whole structure of memory. We said memory, thought is a response of memory. Thought is physical as well as chemical. So the cells are that. Cells of the brain. Now my question is, can the mind, please listen to this, can the brain register only those things that are technological and nothing else? I wonder if you see this question. You understand my question? No. Understand the question, not the answer. That is, the brain registers. It registers because it has to function efficiently, and to function efficiently it must be sure, certain, safe. And it has found that safety in holding on to memories, in holding on to experiences, which is the whole content of knowledge. Now I'm asking myself, can the brain, you're asking this yourself too, please, we're asking, can the brain, though its function is to register, because that's the way to be safe, only register the activities in the field of the known and nowhere else. That is, no movement of thought outside its own area. Vous avez compris?
Could you give another example?
What?
I don't understand quite clearly. Could you give
Yeah,
an example?
I don't like to, I'm sorry, I can't think in examples. We'll try. Look, sir, I see that car, there's a perception of that Mercedes. I'm not a propagandist for Mercedes. There is that Mercedes, and there's perception, sensation, desire. The next movement is thought registering it in the brain and saying, I must have it. Now, can there be no interference of thought, but only observation, sensation, and no interference of thought? Have you understood what I'm saying?
How does one arrive at this balance?
I'm going to show, you're doing it, we are learning, not how. There is no how. When you ask the how, you better ask the professors. But here we are learning. You see, it's much more complex than this, because if you go into it, we are registering everything. Every influence, anything that we see, the television, the books, you are registering what I'm saying. And in that registered state, the brain is completely secure. And it demands security. So it says, I live in tradition, in knowledge. Now we are asking that, challenging the brain, say, look, you have lived for millennia in conflict. Find out how to live without conflict. And the brain refuses it, which you are doing. You don't want to find out. You want to be told how to live, then that becomes security. You understand? So you say, tell me quick. But we are pointing out. So, the brain demanding security lives in the field of knowledge which is tradition. And the tradition is going on, being added, modified, all the time. Now we are saying, look at that brain, look at yourself, which is your brain and your mind, your feelings, all that. Look at yourself and find out if you can live without a single conflict. In that there may be complete security. And because it is told there might be a complete security in that, it will begin to grab it. You understand? So find out if you can live without conflict. If I didn't know the way to the house, I would be in conflict. But I do know the way to the house, it is registered, it's familiar, and I go to it. I don't know mathematics, I learn about it. Or I don't know Russian, and I go to somebody who teaches me Russian, or mathematics, or history, or medicine, and so on and so on. What other place has thought? Has it any other place except in that field? Huh? No. Don't say no. Go learn. So, freedom is not in the field of reality. Because freedom implies freedom from conflict. But if there is freedom from conflict, the mind, such a mind will know how to live in reality. I wonder if you see that. If I have understood, if my brain has completely grasped the full significance of living a life without conflict, which means discovering the utter limitation of thought, its narrow boundaries, then the brain will know how to live in the world of reality and act in freedom from conflict. I wonder if you understand this. our whole society, economically, is based on buying and selling, right? Produce, demand, consumerism. I see that. And I'm greedy, because that's my tradition. I've been educated from childhood to have plenty of, whatever it is, consume. And I see in the world of reality that this consumerism is doing a tremendous lot of harm. But I need clothes, shoes, a house, a shelter. But in the need becomes the greed. You're following all this? So I'm back again. So if I realize, if I see the whole nature of the world of reality, which is very complex, it isn't just childish and throw it out. A world of reality in which the brain is involved, the brain that has functions in the field of knowledge, because that's the only thing it can be secure. But that security, it seeks psychologically, in ideas, in images, in beliefs, in opinions, in judgments, and so on. So I say, as long as that enters, the thought goes beyond the limit which means no judgment, no opinion, no belief, no ideas, which are all projections of thought, pretending that it is something totally different. And to live entirely in the field of knowledge, in the field of reality, which is knowledge, and be free to act there without the interference of belief, dogmas, and all the rest of it. So action then in the field of reality is immediate. If I smoke, which I don't, if I smoke, I realize, see the whole implications of it, end it instantly. Try, do it. Alcohol, anything. That is, see actually what is, and then the action is not tomorrow. So, when there is a total comprehension of the movement of thought as time and measure, which is the function of, which is the world of reality, then we can begin to inquire into truth. It's nearly 12 o'clock. We will meet tomorrow. We'll continue with this if you don't mind.